What's going on, YouTube, man? It's your boy CJ3, aka the Gym Slasher, man. We've been back at it, fellas. Ladies, we're gonna get into it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, comment, get all that. I want to get y'all feedback, man. I want to see what y'all think about this. You read the thumbnail, we're gonna get right into it. Never stop being an athlete. Never stop competing in life. Never stop, right? When you're done in high school, when you're done in college, when you're done in the professional level, right? Transcend that you learned from those levels, take that over to the next aspect of your career, aspect of your life. Let me make this abundantly clear for all, right? Your athleticism in terms of your organized sport, your respective organized sport. If you're lucky enough, and trust me, you are very lucky, you're in a different level when you go past high school and you get into collegiate level, whether if it's NAIA, D1, D2, D3, FBS, FCS. When you go into college, you move in a higher upper echelon of athletics, right? And going into sports, because not everybody can play at those next levels. If you're even more fortunate enough to get to a professional level, whether it's here in the States, it's abroad, professional is professional. When you're able to get to that level, you are obviously in another elite level. That stuff requires a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of commitment, a lot of repetition, a lot of practice, a lot of goal setting and meeting those goals. So congratulations to anyone that played high school sports from their freshman year to their senior year. They graduated, and even if they decided on hanging it up at that point, nonetheless, that's still a high achievement that cannot be ignored. And I want you guys to all appreciate that work, because you know the work that it took. You know the commitment that it takes. As an athlete, and I'm an advocate of athletes, of pursuing their dreams and their careers, however far that may go. And people that are around them encourage them to push them. I've said in other videos, it requires a team, and it is a team effort. That being said, as that athlete, you know wins, you understand losses, you understand hard work, you understand commitment, right? You understand leadership, you understand how to follow, when to lead, when to follow, right? Being coachable, right? Having goals in mind as a team goal, individual goals, and coming together for those common goals to see something that's even better than you, right? Those transcend post your respective sport, right? It's still the same mindset when you want to get into different ventures that's not only being in your respective sport, right? As an athlete, you only have, leaving out of high school, let's say 17, 18, 19 years old, in that range. From there, an approximate, you have, if you're lucky to play your sport post high school, you have 10, 12 years, right? Most professional athletes retire 35, 32. You know, LeBron and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. Those are elites of the elite of the elite to be playing in near their 40s. Aaron Rodgers to be playing near 40s and 38s and 39s. Those are anomalies. Those are not the norm. And if you, as you know, and some of y'all that's seen the NFL, the average is 3.5 years, right? In the NBA, it's a little bit more. Soccer's a little bit more. Hockey is roughly around that 6, 7, 8 year, right? So if you're lucky to get into the league, to get into these professionals, you got 2 to 6, 7 years on average. If you're lucky, a 10, 15 year career. If you're not so lucky, 0.1 year of sport. What do you do after that? What's the goals? What's the plans? Getting a quote unquote, what they want to say is a 9 to 5, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta work, gotta eat, gotta provide. You still, there's still other aspirations that you can get to. And it's still the same mindset. It's still that athletic drive. It's still that competitive drive. Athletic, when I'm saying never stop being an athlete, I'm saying never stop competing, because that's the operative word, competing. As long as you on this earth, you should be competing to get the things that you want. That way you appreciate it more because you know what it took for you to get there. When you go on your teams from college, from high school, college to pro level, you know that competitiveness and you know what it took for you to get that win. You know what it took to get that championship. You also know how it felt to lose, right? Losing is not failing. Failing is just, again, not even wanting to go for it and go for yours. Like I said in my very first video, I failed. Well, sort of, right? If you go and look at that one, feel free to check it out. But nonetheless, I want to stay locked in on never stop competing, never stop being driven to have goals in mind and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish in life. You can win all the championships in the world. You can have all the MVPs of the world, all of that. Eventually, you're going to have to set that down, right? And move to the next phase in your life. And a lot of athletes struggle with that because they didn't think and plan on post sport retirement, right? Most of y'all, if y'all lucky, and I hope you guys get to your levels, and some of y'all have maybe you're watching this and you were at those levels. I hope, you know what it took to get there, and then leaving that and how to find that drive to go and compete at other things can be very mentally daunting, because you don't think that you're going to get that same rush as you did when you were playing your respective sports. But it's just a mindset change that understand that that's at the most high. There's not going to always be 20, 30, 50,000 people cheering you on, and you can hear that cheer, right? You're just your own biggest cheerleader internally, and that's what's pushing you and fueling you. And it's just a mindset change on how to navigate through that when now that cheer is internal as opposed to external and on a grand stage, on a grand scheme, right? You're not hearing the band playing. You're not hearing, you're not smelling like the popcorn and the hot dogs and nachos and stuff like that. Now you got a suit and tie, or now you got a uniform, on, and then you're going. How do you get yourself going? It's the same concepts. You still be in that mindset of competing. Never stop competing. Never stop having goals in mind. Never stop being driven. You see the athletes that, like a LeBron, a Kobe Bryant, rest his soul, Muhammad Ali's, you start going into like Wayne Gretzky's, Jerry West, right? They were great in their respective sports, and then they used that same drive when they left their sport, right? Retired. And then start going into other ventures. When you talk to them, I read several, Jerry West book, Michael Jordan, listened to a lot of interviews, and as they achieved their success, they found out that the competition in the competitive mode, that fire is still the same. Magic Johnson, same thing, right? They still compete at that high level because that's what they know, and you can see how the success happens because of that. Because they were driven as athletes, and they took that into their corporate side and still was driven. And I'm not saying, this is not a knock to saying, non-athletes can't compete and be successful, because they can, and they use the same mindset. I've read Warren Buffett's book, Bill Gates, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of similarities to what they're talking about in terms of, their drive and driven to be the best and compete, right? They just did it in a different aspect, in a different lane, but it was still the same. It was still a drive. It was still a push. It was still to be better than everybody. It was taking losses and turning those into wins. Understanding when people doubt you and don't think that you're going to be able to compete, don't think you're going to be better, but you have self-confidence, and you self-driven, and you self-motivated, and you go against those odds, right? That they stacked against you. So even from those levels, they still know how to compete. They still know how to be driven and stuff. You don't necessarily have to be the greatest athlete, but having that mindset, whether whatever artistry, you can go into that and having that drive, having that focus. So this video was just simply about the athlete, about you never stop being that athlete, whether if you're 40, 50 years old and you was 20 last time you touched an organized, court or your respective court, you was still in your 20s or you was in your 30s even, still don't forget that drive. Use that drive to compete in other things and still find that love of pushing yourself and motivating yourself, because when this is done, right? You don't want to leave anything on the table on what you thought of and you should have happened and you should have had it. It's very depressing. It can be very depressing when you get out of your sports and you don't feel like you have an angle. You don't have something to do that makes you, right? Find that niche. Find something there that makes you want to drive into getting better. You can accept things a lot more when you know you have that competitive drive and you have that as your experience. That's why I preach so much to the youth to play sports in high school, play sports as long as you can, and take as much of it out as much as you can and apply it to the next phase of your life, especially being a high character person and being coachable. And that helps as you learn and get advice from people that's doing their respective works. Like you'd be surprised to see the correlation between your respective field and then when you start going into just regular work, or what we call regular work. It's the same concepts, right? Even if folks who have been in a professional level in your respective your respective sport, it becomes very business-like. It's very workman-like. It is a job because they're paying you for a service now. They're paying for you for your athletic prowess and what you're doing out there. It is now a job. So how you do that when you go out of that job, because that job retirement is 33. That job is like, you'd be lucky to get to 44 in the professional level aspect of your professional job. You have a small window. Use that window as much as you can to catapult you to that next level and to get you ready for the next phase of your life, which is still competing. So with that being said, man, I just wanted to get that into the mind. Again, who are you? What is your mission? I love you. I appreciate you. I'm gone. Until next time, YouTube, deuces.